You know, looking back on 2017, as challenging and difficult as it has been, I realize I have caught the biggest fish of my life this year. And that's what this video is all about. Yeah, 2017 has been pretty difficult for me. We lost Ryan early in the year to a heroin overdose. My dad just recently died a couple of weeks ago. It's been kind of a tough year, but just thinking back on just the fishing part of it, I've gone on some amazing trips this year. I've done some really fun things with Ryan and since Ryan. And my goodness gracious, this video is about the big monster fish that I have caught this year. First of all, early in the spring, I went to Lake Erie. And this was a writers conference that happens every year. It's put on by a group of people up there. And I usually get invited by some of my buddies, either from Strike King or Cigar or somewhere else. And dude, it's a blast. And so we went out, and my goal this year was to break my personal best smallmouth. Currently, I think my personal best was like around 4 pounds, 3 pounds, 4 pounds at the time. And we went out, weather was horrible, it rained a lot, and I ended up catching almost a 7-pound smallmouth, a monstrous smallmouth. Unfortunately, shortly thereafter, when I was putting all the footage together, my external hard drive went bad and I lost almost all of the footage. So the only footage I have is just a few seconds of me bringing it up to the boat and it being netted, and then a couple of pictures, really good pictures of me holding the fish.
Man. You just beat your record and then
easy.
You beat it easy.
Guys, look at this fish. Are you kidding me? Look at that football.
But that was the smallmouth. You know, it was amazing. I was testing out the new Creed GT reel for 13 fishing, the spinning reel. It was just, I can't explain how awesome it was to catch that fish. We caught it 32 feet deep, dragging tubes, which I had never done before. And then this summer, actually right after the FLW Championship, the expo that I went down to Florida with Chad Hoover to meet up with Captain Ben Chansey to go fish for Goliath Grouper out of our kayaks. And as far as any of us know, nobody had ever caught a Goliath Grouper over 200 pounds from a kayak without falling out. So we went down to somewhere around Miami. I don't know if it was north, south, I don't know, I wasn't really paying attention. But the cool thing was we had to go out and catch bait in order to go catch bait in order to go catch a Goliath Grouper. So we caught little bait and caught bigger bait, and we used the bigger bait to catch the Goliath Grouper. Chad was first up, and he ended up within 3 seconds being yanked in the water by about a 150 pounder. He'll give you all kinds of excuses as to why that happened. We were there. Okay, so then it was my turn. Dude, I have never been more scared in my entire life than I was sitting there in that kayak, knowing there was at least one 900-pound Goliath Grouper under me, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to catch that one.
All right, so what you thinking now, Gene?
What am I thinking now?
Yeah.
I'm thinking I don't want to get bit. I'm just waiting. I feel like I'm waiting to get eaten. You know? Bum, bum. And now I know what a bait fish feels like. How'd you like live your whole life as a bait fish? The trick was I kept backpedaling. Now, first of all, if you guys ever do this, make sure you have a chase boat. Don't go out by yourself with a kayak and try to catch Goliath Grouper. You have a good chance of dying. So I was there, we had a chase boat, we had everything we needed to be safe. Now, the trick for me was to keep the bait out in front of me. So every time I changed positions according to the current, I made sure I paddled. And I back paddled and it kept the bait out in front of me. But anyway, the fish bit. I set the hook and got one pump on him, and all of a sudden, bam, I was gone.
Come on, buddy.
about 6, 7 knots, somewhere around there. 0 to fast in a hurry. And it was quite the trip. I got lucky. The fish swam away from the wreck we were fishing. So he swam away. I was able to get him up a little bit, enough to where when he swam back to the wreck, he couldn't get down in it and get hung up. And then I just fought him out. Ended up being somewhere between a 225 and 250 pound Goliath Grouper. Awesome. I mean, absolutely. I can't explain how awesome it was to feel a fish pull like that. I basically was a bobber, a drift buoy. Nuts. I'll do it again, but man, it was crazy. So that was my Goliath Grouper. All right, so before I go any further, while I'm talking about these big fish, I've got videos just about every single one of these fish. So the full-length videos, all you gotta do is click on this little eye, and I'll have little cards that drop down so you can go and watch those videos. But anyway, the next fish. I went down the Flint River with Alan Ragsdale. He's a guide down on the Flint River, and I was with Andy from Andy's Fishing in Australia. He had gotten in touch with me, said he was doing a big U.S. swing, and really, wanted to go fishing with me. So I thought it was pretty cool. So we went down the Flint River, and our goal was to catch giant shoal bass. Now, a shoal bass itself lives only in a few rivers in Georgia and a couple of rivers in Florida, and they only reside around the rocky shoals. So it's not a very popular fish. A lot of people don't know about them. They're kind of a smallmouth spotted bass combined on steroids in flowing water. So you're talking about a fight. So my goal was to catch one longer than 20 inches, but more than my 16-inch personal best. So we went out, struggled the first day, caught some good spotted bass. I caught one big largemouth, and I was using the new Concept Z for the first time from 13 Fishing. I was excited about that, and so we had a good day the first day. The second day was all about catching that big fish. So I tied on a big line through paddle tail swim bait and went to chunking. And it was tough, man. It was really tough. And it got down to the very last shoals just before we got to the boat ramp. And I threw in there and I was reeling it back, and it was almost to the boat, and I saw the fish come up and eat it. He literally ate it 4 feet from the boat. That's what I love about kayaks, is that they don't really spook the fish that much. So he ate it, and the fight was on. It was right there in a rapid. There was a rapid right behind me, a lot of current. Just a fun fish. Ended up being 20.5 inches. And to put that in perspective, a 20-inch bass is like catching, or shoal bass is like catching a 10-pound largemouth. So you're talking about fun. That's a beautiful fish. Now, the last fish, also from a kayak. We were down with the Jackson Media House filming for promo videos for Jackson. We do it once a year, twice a year. Or at least I go with them during that period of time. But we went down to Louisiana to fish for redfish. And our goal was to catch some big monster redfish. Of course, they look good on video. They look good on pictures. So the first day we shuttled down to 7 to 12 miles south of Pointe-aux-Chenes, Louisiana. We went out of the Pointe-aux-Chenes kayak rental place down there and fished all day. It took me a little while to get my feet back under me about redfish fishing and try to figure things out. But towards the end, man, I saw this wake come in my direction. It's just water being pushed. And I thought it was a big school of mullet because we've been seeing mullet all day. But it was just one single wake and then one big black blob right behind that wake. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a big one. So I had a Z-Man crab on a, what was it? On a trout eye jig head. And threw in front of him, missed, didn't throw it close enough with black drum, and it ended up being a black drum, we didn't know at the time, but with drum itself, you've got to get it real close to him for them to reach down and bite it. So I threw it out in front of his nose, it fell down in front of him, he just kind of slurped it up, and I sat there and I waited a second, and I just tightened in on him, and oh my goodness, that thing was a huge fish.
Giant, got a giant. Woo, I got a big one on.
I started screaming and everything else, and 25 minutes later, I was about 200 yards from where I originally started, and I finally boated him.
Yes! What in the crap do I have in my boat?
All the guys from Jackson Media House were around. It was It was awesome. I was getting great pictures. I got great pictures. I got decent footage. Had a little bit of microphone issues during the middle of it. Had a battery go out while I was fighting the fish on the microphone. I couldn't do anything about it, so I yanked it out. Just a crazy fight, a lot of fun. It was a 40-pound black drum. I mean, you see the picture. It drapes all the way across my lap. I was slimed from here all the way to my toes. Took 2 wash cycles to get the slime out of my shirt and my pants, and it was all worth it. But all in all, that was the big fish of the year. I broke, well, first Goliath Grouper, Personal Best Black Drum, Personal Best Shoal Bass, Personal Best Smallmouth Bass. What a year! What an amazing year! You know, the sad part does not, or the sad part outweighs the good part. Always does, because people are real important to me. My friends are really important to me. But for this next year, you guys are going to see some awesome changes. Some really cool video ideas that I've got. I'm not just going to do instructional videos, although that's still my priority. I'm amping up all my production. It's just going to be a lot of fun. You're going to see a whole lot of different things coming out of me. I'm going to mess around and experiment a lot this year. It's time to get this thing rolling. I'm putting the depression behind me and just getting to work. The best way to get over a depressive period of time in your life is to get to work and do what you need to do. So that's what I'm talking about. So go ahead and subscribe to my channel. If you're subscribed and you don't get alerts, make sure you turn on your notifications for YouTube on your phone. Click on the little bell next to the subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and then click on the bell. That way, what happens is once I load a video, as soon as I load a video, because you've got notifications on, because you clicked on that bell, you get a notification on your phone, and you know that the video's up there and you can watch it. It's going to be cool, dude. It's going to be a great, great year. So like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to my channel. Let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out on the water, go out and catch some fish. Have a great day. We'll see you.